Hello, it's your boy Davidoff. I wanted to do this video a while ago, even before the game got released. I wanted to do this, but it kept getting delayed, obviously. But it's out now. But the season is postponed, possibly cancelled, so this might mean nothing. Having said that, I still want to do it because I want to know, how would the game have predicted the 2020 season, the entire season? So round one is not the same as the real life round one. It's a fictional round one as well. What if round one was different? It was like this. And what if the rest of the season actually happened right now? How would it go according to AFL Evolution 2? So let's see how this goes. Squads might not be accurate. I'm using the default squads for the game. So Alex Rons is still at Richmond and Willie Rioli still at West Coast Eagles. So there's a few different players that shouldn't be there. Having said that, it should not affect these predictions too much. So let's see how the game predicted the 2020 season. 23 rounds, not 17 rounds. 23 rounds. Let's see how it goes. Round one, Richmond beat the Blues by just a point. That's pretty crazy. The Dogs and Collingwood played out a 13-all draw. So that's pretty tight, but very low scoring as well, to be fair. I mean, it's on 2.5 minute quarters, but I simulated it. It's not like it's a live simulation. It's just a quick simulation. I literally just went here and pressed simulate. There's a spoiler for the finals. Yep, well done, David. Great start, amazing. I am brilliant, absolutely brilliant. There's round 23. You know, you didn't see that. You didn't see that. I apologize. This is a great video so far. Freo beat Essendon just by a couple points, so that's pretty crazy. Adelaide lost by a couple points, so that's realistic to real life. The Giants lost to Geelong. Interesting. Gold Coast beat Port Adelaide. Okay, what's going on there then? North Melbourne beat St Kilda. Accurate. Hawthorn lost to Brisbane. I don't like that. West Coast Eagles lost by 2 points to Melbourne. That's a crazy alternate round one, I gotta say. Collingwood and Richmond played out a draw, 48-48. At the SCG, the Sydney Swans lost to Essendon by 12 points. The D's lost to the Giants pretty comfortably, to be fair, for the Giants. The Dogs beat Carlton. The Lions beat North. Port beat the Crows in the showdown by 2 points. Geelong smashed Gold Coast. St Kilda lost by just 1 point to the West Coast Eagles. Fremantle beat Hawthorn in Perth. That's a reasonable result. That's realistic, to be fair. At the MCG, in round 3, Carlton beat Essendon by a few points. The Giants beat the Western Bulldogs by 10. Hawks lost to Collingwood. That is annoying. Adelaide Crows beat Brisbane by just 1 point. Same with Port Adelaide beating North Melbourne by just 1 point. The West Coast Eagles beating Geelong by 2. There's some close games here. Some really close games. The D's comfortable against Fremantle, I assume anyway. 18-point win. St Kilda lost to Richmond. Gold Coast lost to Sydney. These are A4W scores at the bottom there. Look at that, 11-19. What on earth is going on here, to be fair? Even the A4W team, some of the teams score more goals than this, like Freo and Adelaide. They score like over 50-60 points. Like, what's going on here? If I increase the minutes, would it have more goals? I have no idea how that works, to be honest. Round 4. The Pies beat Brisbane by just a couple points, closer than the real life 2019 game. Western Bulldogs beat North Melbourne. Port beat West Coast by 1 point. Richmond beat Adelaide. Freo beat Gold Coast. Essendon lost to the Giants. The Swans beat the Blues. The Saints beat the D's. Just checking if my recording software is doing alright. Geelong beat Hawthorn. Why are Hawthorn losing? We're losing every game. We're not making the 8s. That's we're not making the 8s, are we? I'm gonna cry. Adelaide beat Essendon. I've not seen these, but I've only seen the ladder. No, I've not seen the ladder actually. I've seen the finals fixture, and I forgot it now. Anyway, I know that Geelong and Saints are there now since I've just seen it, but I've only seen round 1 and 2. I'm pretty sure, so this is all like a shock to me. I'm finding out for the first time, just like you. The Crows beat the Dons by a point. Eagles lost to Richmond by 2 points. We need this in a grand final. I'm sorry, but this would be a classic if this was a grand final game. Surprised I haven't got it yet, to be fair. Collingwood beat Port Adelaide. Gold Coast and Melbourne, they drew their game. Gold Coast not doing that badly, to be fair, all things considered. Sydney beat the Giants in their showdown. The Western Bulldogs beat Brisbane by a few points. Freo beat North Melbourne by a few points. Hawthorn lost to Carlton. What is going on? Hawthorn Where are you? Geelong beat St Kilda. My word, don't start like that. In real life, if the season comes back, Hawthorn, please, do not start like that, okay? We did win a game, though, against Brisbane, so that's good. Real life is better. Melbourne beat Richmond. Hawthorn beat West Coast. Yes! Yes! We beat West Coast. Yes, it had to be West Coast as well. We beat them last year in the last round. Collingwood beat Essendon. Sydney beat Brisbane. Western Bulldogs beat Port Adelaide. I got two aeroplanes here. My PS4 sounds like a plane, so does my laptop. The Western Bulldogs beat Port Adelaide. The Giants beat Gold Coast, the two new teams they're facing off. Carlton beat North Melbourne by just a point. Saints by 2 against Adelaide. Freo lost to Geelong there. Round 7, Saints beats Collingwood. That's a big win for them. Gold Coast beat Adelaide. That's a big win for them. The Giants beat Richmond at the MCG. That's a huge win for them. Jeez. Port Adelaide beat Carlton by a couple points. Western Bulldogs beat Hawthorn. Oh, shut up. Evolution, shut up. I don't like this already. Geelong lost to Brisbane. Sydney beat North Melbourne. Essendon lost to Melbourne. West Coast lost to Freo by 2 points. That's interesting. That's very interesting. They don't beat West Coast very often in recent years anyway, so that's quite interesting there. Round 8 at the Gabba. The finals from last year repeats itself. Not as far much of a smashing though. This time it's just 3 points. The Tigers beating the Lions at the Gabba, obviously. Crows beating Freo by just a few points. Gold Coast beating Western Bulldogs at Mar Stadium. What? Geelong losing to Essendon. West Coast losing to Sydney at the Optus. The Giants beat Collingwood. Okay, more realistic at least. St Kilda beat Carlton. Melbourne beat Port Adelaide. North Melbourne beat Hawthorn. Hawthorn's taking a big L in this video. Taking a big L. I should redo it. I did it once and I thought, you know what, that's going to be the final decision. Richmond beat Geelong by a couple points. North lost to Essendon. Gold Coast lost to West Coast by just a point. What? Our Gold Coast not even that bad. What's going on here? The Giants lost to the Saints. Hawthorn beats the Swans. Port Adelaide lost to Brisbane. Carlton beats Collingwood. Melbourne beats Adelaide. Freo lost to the Western Bulldogs. I hope I haven't done any of these wrong. I'm trying to like read them fast, supposed to get them right at the same time. But yeah, you can see the results on the screen, obviously. SCG, Sydney beat Geelong. Interesting. Hawthorn beat Port Adelaide. Yes, we got a win. Saints beat Fremantle. Oh wait, is the Tasmania Stadium in the game? I didn't realise that. Yeah, I didn't realise that was in the game. Maybe I'm stupid. Anyway, Saints beat Fremantle. Sorry. Adelaide beat Carlton. Essendon beat Richmond. Brisbane beat Gold Coast by a few points. Why are Gold Coast good? I don't understand. Melbourne beat Western Bulldogs by a point. Collingwood beat North by 8 points. West Coast beat Giants in a big game there. Round 11, Hawthorn beat Melbourne. Yes. Richmond beat Sydney. Geelong beat North Melbourne. The Giants by just a point over the Adelaide Crows. Western Bulldogs beat Carlton. Freo lost to Brisbane Lions at Optus. Essendon beats Gold Coast. Collingwood beats West Coast. St Kilda lost to Port Adelaide. Round 12, into the bye rounds now. Adelaide beat Western Bulldogs by just a point. Sydney beating Freo there as well. Gold Coast losing to Hawthorn. Yes. Carlton, I was going to say Houghton. Carlton beating the Giants by just 2 points. That reminds me of 2017 when they won by a point. I think it was like 71-70 against the Giants. That was my first last 2 minutes reaction that I did on this channel. You can go check it out if you want. When Carlton beat Giants by just a point in 2017. That was a mad ending. Very mad ending. Anyway, Richmond beat North Melbourne by a point. Melbourne lost by a few points to Collingwood. Round 13, West Coast beat Essendon. Hawthorn lost to Geelong again. Seriously, why? North Melbourne lost just to the Brisbane Lions by less than a goal. Gold Coast beating St Kilda. Okay. Western Bulldogs losing to the GWS Giants there just by 6 points, just by a goal of that margin. Also by a goal, Adelaide beat Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval in that showdown during the bye rounds. Interesting. Sydney lost to Collingwood. No surprises there, obviously. Melbourne winning at the Gabba against Brisbane by 4 points. That's quite interesting. Saints beating Essendon at Marvel. Freo beating Carlton. Port Adelaide losing to Geelong by just 5 points, so like a reverse of the 2019 game, but a lesser margin. Richmond beating West Coast by just 4 points. Pretty close game, that one. The Brisbane Lions beating the Hawks. Here we go again. Western Bulldogs beating the Dons by 3 points. Gold Coast beating Melbourne at the MCG. What? Geelong beat Carlton. The Giants beat Richmond. West Coast beating North Melbourne by just 2 points. Collingwood beating the Adelaide Crows. Saints beating Sydney by just 2 points. Port Adelaide losing at the Adelaide Oval against Fremantle. Interesting one there. That sounds familiar from a finals game recently. Hawthorn beating Essendon. Yes, it's a win. West Coast losing to Geelong by just a point at GMHBA. Collingwood beating the Brisbane Lions. Richmond losing at Marvel Stadium to Port Adelaide quite comfortably as well. That's quite interesting. Swans winning by a point against the Bulldogs. Adelaide beating St Kilda by less than a goal. Gold Coast beat Carlton. North Melbourne lost to the GWS. I'm being thrown off by the Gold Coast Suns winning so many games. The Giants beating North Melbourne there. Freo beating Melbourne by 7 points. Some interesting score lines. Over to the MCG in round 17. Richmond losing to Collingwood by 9 points there. Melbourne winning by a point against the Saints. Hawthorn beating North Melbourne. Yes, sweet revenge. The Giants winning by less than a goal against Essendon. The Bulldogs beating Freo. Brisbane losing by 10 to Geelong at the Gabba. That's quite a big result for Geelong there. Port beating Gold Coast. Carlton and Sydney played out a draw. Another draw. I think that's the third draw in this video. 36 all there. West Coast Eagles winning against the Adelaide Crows by 13 points. Round 18 getting towards the end here. Geelong winning by a point against Collingwood. Hawthorn. Geelong winning by a point against Collingwood. Sorry. Hawthorn beating the Giants. Yes. Gold Coast beat... Okay, this is getting ridiculous. Gold Coast Suns beating Richmond. Make it make sense. Please make it make sense. Sydney Swans 23, Adelaide 38. I don't know where we're down to scores now. The Dogs winning by 4 against St Kilda. Freo losing to West Coast. Essendon losing by a goal to North Melbourne. Carlton beating the Lions by 4 points. Adelaide winning also by 4 points against the D's. Round 19. Hawthorn beating Port Adelaide. Yes. Carlton losing to West Coast. North beating Gold Coast. That's better. Geelong beating Melbourne by just 3 points. Giants beating Sydney by less than a goal. Essendon beat the Crows. Richmond beats the... Richmond lost. Richmond lost at the MCG to the Western Bulldogs. That'd be an interesting result in real life. Brisbane losing to St Kilda by 2 goals. Freo winning by a goal against Collingwood. That's a big win for Freo right there. Round 20. Adelaide Crows beating the Richmond Tigers by less than a goal. Essendon drawing with Collingwood. Quite interesting. That's a big result. 38 apiece. 33-32. The Giants winning by a point against Brisbane Lions there. That's quite close as well. Geelong beating the Bulldogs. St Kilda winning by a point against Hawthorn. Boo. West Coast Eagles winning by 4 points against Port Adelaide. North Melbourne beating Carlton. Melbourne beating Sydney by 2 points. Gold Coast beating Fremantle by a point. Fremantle beat Collingwood and lost to Gold Coast. I'm sorry, but that sounds like Fremantle. Like, they win big games and lose small ones. Like, that sounds exactly like Fremantle. Any Freo fans, let me know if I'm accurate there. But losing to Gold Coast is a bit far, though. That's like, I mean, to be honest, they did that last year, didn't they? They lost to Gold Coast last year, right? And they beat Geelong last year. I don't know. Just AFL is sometimes crazy in terms of like the results, but yeah, you know, things happen. I like how unpredictable it is. Round 21. Did I do round 20? I did round 20, right? Yeah, I did round 20. Geelong losing to the Giants at GMHBA Stadium. Interesting. That's revenge for the Giants there. Just like last year, though, they did win at the GMHBA again in this game. Collingwood beating Melbourne at the MCG by 4 points. The Lions beat West Coast. Hawthorn losing to the Crows. We're losing to the Crows in Tasmania by 3 points. Get out of here. To the Crows, get out of here. Sydney losing to Gold Coast. Why are Gold Coast good? I don't understand. Freo losing to St Kilda by a goal. Carlton beating Richmond by a goal. That's a mad result there. Jeez. The North Melbourne Kangaroos beating the Western Bulldogs by just a point at Marvel. Essendon beating Port Adelaide by 4 points. This is very interesting indeed. Round 22, the Collingwood Magpies beating the West Coast Eagles by 10 points at Optus Stadium. That's a big result there, but you know, they did it last year as well. Not the same margin though. Maybe it was, I can't remember. Port Adelaide beating the Western Bulldogs at Mars. Melbourne beating Carlton by just a point. Giants losing to Freo at the Giants Stadium. That's a big result for Freo right there. Essendon beating Sydney by 3 points. Brisbane beating Gold Coast by 2 points. Saints beating Geelong by a point. Richmond and Hawthorn drawing. Okay, I mean, I'll take it. It's not a loss. We always lose to Richmond in the last 3 years. Adelaide beating Northumberland by 10. On to the final rounds. West Coast beating West Coast by 13. Gold Coast beating Collingwood by 15 at the MCG. What? Geelong beating Adelaide by 9 points. Sydney losing to Hawthorn by 9. Yeah. Saints beating Carlton by 11. Brisbane beating Essendon by 15. North beating Melbourne by 10 points. Port Adelaide beating the Giants by 5. And Freo losing to Richmond by 13 at Optus. Well, that is something else. And because of that, this is the ladder. In last are the North Melbourne Kangaroos. I'm sorry, North, but in this game somehow thinks that Gold Coast will win 10 games. I don't know how it thinks it could win 10 games. How could Gold Coast win 10 games? Someone explain that to me. How did Gold Coast win 10 games in any season? Please let me know. How are they only 12th as well? I swear, I mean, never mind. Ignore me, alright? But that's ridiculous. Like, I'm pretty sure that's high scoring as well. Like, Richmond are 9th. Okay, that's that's for the meme. Richmond in 9th. That's hilarious. Anyway, Carlton in at 17th. Interesting. The Bombers in 16th. Rio in 15th. Port Adelaide in 14th. Sydney in 13th. All of these teams are below Gold Coast. Gold Coast, seriously. Hawthorn in 11th. Boo. Adelaide in 10th. Richmond 9th. Yes. West Coast just making, wow, on percentage, West Coast and Brisbane making the 8 over Richmond and Adelaide. You could not write this. Like, this is just, I mean, it's just a game. This is just how the game, what the game thinks. Clearly the game's stupid, but I mean, I like the game. No hate towards the game. I do enjoy the game. I enjoy playing it. But this prediction thing is silly. I mean, just look at the ladder. It's ridiculous. West Coast just making the 8 with Brisbane on percentage. Melbourne in 6th. That's a good, I mean, that's realistic to be fair. With Bulldogs in 5th, can happen, realistic. St Kilda in 4th. I'm not sure I can see that in 2020. Maybe in future, but 2020, I mean, that's interesting. The top four for the Saints. I mean, that's something else. We got a few draws as well. It's crazy. Quite a few teams got at least one draw. Richmond got 2 draws, which is quite mad. One against Hawthorn. The Giants in 3rd place. The Pies in 2nd, and Geelong, just like last year, winning the minor premiership. This is very interesting. And also, the finals. The Cats are playing the Saints. The Bulldogs are playing the Eagles. The Demons are playing the Lions. And the Magpies are playing the Giants. This should be very interesting. And this is going to be like a first reaction for everyone anyway. I'm just going to simulate these now, see what happens. Geelong lost to the St Kilda Saints by 2. Are the Saints going to win a flag? What's going on here? Oh my days. Imagine if Gold Coast were in the finals. They probably would have won the whole thing, considering how they've played in the season. The teams that they beat. But there we go. Right, saving. Hurry up and save, mate. Pies versus the Giants. Big game, obviously. At the MCG, and the Magpies come out on top by just a point. Just 1 point. Crazy. Some close games here. I'm liking the close games. Keep it coming. Keep it coming, mates. Keep it coming. I like this. I like this a lot. The Western Bulldogs versus the West Coast Eagles. And the West Coast Eagles won that by 5 points. So the Bulldogs are eliminated from the competition. On to the next elimination final. Where is it? Come on. Give it to me. The Demons against the Lions. Two clubs that I like. Two clubs that I really like. So this should be quite interesting. Let's simulate it. The Lions winning that comfortably. Interesting. 37-19. That's quite interesting. I like that. Alright, so because of that, the Cats face off against the Eagles, just like in 2019. The Lions face the Giants, just like in 2019. The Magpies are waiting in the prelim, just like in 2019. And unlike 2019, the Saints are in the prelim as well, also waiting. 5 games to go. Yeah, skip. What do you mean skip by? What are you talking about? I ain't got a bye. Oh, okay. What bye? There was a bye after the first round of finals? So that was before the finals, mate. What? I'm confused. Whatever. I don't know. But Geelong beating West Coast by 8 points. Quite interesting there. They beat West Coast last year in the finals, so you know there's something right there. They're not facing Richmond though, because Richmond didn't even make the 8s, which is quite ridiculous. But next up is the Giants against Brisbane. Can it be different to real life last year? No. The Giants once again picking up the win by 10 points, 33-23. On to the preliminary finals. Here we go. The Saints versus the Giants and the Cats versus the Magpies. This should be good. This should be interesting, especially the other one against the one between the Pies and the Cats. But first up is the Saints against the Giants. Who wins this one? The Saints. AFL Evolution 2 thinks that first of all, the Gold Coast Suns will win 10 games. Second, St Kilda will make the grand final. They made it 10 years ago, to be fair, so that'd be quite interesting, like a whole decade later. It could be a rematch if the Pies win the next one. But 33-22 to St Kilda, 11-point margin for them. They are waiting for the winner of the Cats against the Magpies. Maybe the day's extra rest might help them as well, to be fair. Who wins the other semi? It's not a rematch. It is a rematch from 2009, I'm pretty sure. I think that's the 2009 grand final, Geelong Saints. Geelong beats Collingwood by just a point. Collingwood 6-10-46, Geelong 7-5-47. Very close. Very, very close. But Geelong just about winning. Is it their redemption time after such a bad finals record? We shall find out. Or will the Saints avenge 09 and even 2010, to be fair? The big dance, what's that? What's that for? What's that for? I mean, I control every team in this, so that's sort of cheating, but you know, I'll take the trophy, mate. I'll take the trophy. I won the Legend difficulty one, by the way. All you got to do, no sliders, you just got to pick the best team. So pick True Blue or Wicked Witch. Play against any of the national teams, so China, UK, Great Britain, whatever. Play against one of those country teams. Use the 94 rated Legend teams, and boom, you'll beat them easily in Legend. I'm saying I'm terrible at the game, and I still won comfortably. Anyway, that's not what this is about. On to the grand final. Who do you think wins? You can let me know predictions down below, I guess, before you watch this. But I'm going to do it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. St Kilda 3-6-24, Geelong 6-4-40. Geelong. AFL Evolution 2 believes that Geelong will win the Premiership in 2020 if the season comes back. So there we go. Geelong winning by 16 points, and they are the flag winners. Congratulations, you. I mean, it's not me, is it? It's regardless of what happened, I would have won anyway because I control every single team. So that's but I'll take the free trophies. I'll take the free trophies. That's all good. It's all good. Wait a second. Do I like? No, not that one, you idiots. Yeah, look at this. Win the game on Legend. Look at the score. I did True Blue against China. I'm bad at the game, and I still managed that. I struggle on Senior. Okay, so you don't even need sliders. Just use True Blue, and you will beat a nation. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. But anyway, as for the actual video subject, AFL Evolution 2 believes that Geelong would win the Premiership if the season was on. So in an alternate reality where Gold Coast win 10 games, the game believes that Geelong would win the flag. But it also had Gold Coast winning 10 games. So to be honest, probably won't happen. There probably won't be a Geelong win. So if you're a Hawks fan, or if you just hate Geelong like Caden does, then you'll be happy to know that this won't happen, because clearly this game is office rocker to think that Gold Coast would win 10 games. Gold Coast, 10 wins for Gold. Can you imagine? Can you imagine Gold Coast Suns winning 10 games? I can't. Not in 2020.
I roll the dice, see where life takes me. I've been feeling down on these nights lately, but I know that I got so much to give. Never forget, but I can learn to forgive, yeah. I roll the dice, see where life takes me. I've been feeling